The Tanis Diet conditions pairings. So, lactose intolerance with calcium, anemia with iron, and scurvy with vitamin C. So, today is Tuesday, 12 May 2026, and I'm Tanis Diet of Seattle, and I was thinking about, I have this diet, the Tanis Diet, and tracked nutrients include vitamin C, calcium, and iron. And then there's calories and exercise. But those are the only things that are required to track. And a lot of people are like, like growing up, one of the diets common more socially was the 1200 calorie diet for women, where it's like 1200 calories and then that's it. You can do whatever you want. You just have to eat that. And so this is not this isn't all that. This is compared to that, this is a whole lot of work. Okay, so there's calories. There's exercise, there's calcium, there's iron, and vitamin C. But compared to a lot of the really big health nuts or exercise nuts, it's not that much. They track everything. So I've been, so in that sense, it really depends on kind of perhaps your experience or your outlook towards dieting, whether this is a really arduous diet or not. I would say it's difficult in the sense that it can be easy to lean into more exercise, where a person does an exercise session and they're like, I'm just going to exercise more and eat more, but then don't eat so much, and then this is no, it cuts off. So there are upper limits on exercise. And so in that sense, for people who are just kind of they hit the cruise control by exercising 5 to 8 hours a day, right? This is much harder than that, because it requires cutting off that just coast mode. It requires self-control and self-regulation. And so this is, so those are kind of temperaments, and then if a person wants the freedom of the 1200 calorie diet and only to track calories, right, then this also is too much work. So there's personality and lifestyle, kind of this diet might not fit. There's also the nutrients that are tracked themselves, people might struggle with. So if a person uses it, the Tanis diet, who might struggle with it, and are there corresponding medical conditions? And so it's I should return to this because I had chose one of those elements. Let's see, one of those elements, I was medically tested for allergies, and I think lactose intolerance got thrown in there, or there was a result where they could give kind of a result for whether I was tested for or not. And this was at University of Washington Medicine, okay? And so I was lactose intolerant and allergic to wheat, not gluten intolerant, allergic to wheat. And calcium is one of the tracked nutrients. So it has, I'd say, coming into defining this diet, and I put that video out kind of defining what it was back in 2020. I think it was August 2020 videos. And I've been keeping up with it since. So there's a little bit of, coming into the diet, I had already kind of figured out lactose content of dairy products is variable, and some of the items I couldn't actually consume because I was intolerant. And I don't take pills for it or anything like that. I'm very much about natural into my body, so no medication, period, if possible. And my lactose intolerance has actually improved with this diet. And I can actually eat foods that I used to get that would make me fart. I no longer fart over. So the set of nutrients that are tracked, the balance of them has actually dramatically changed my physiology, in the sense of I don't fart like I used to. So there we go. And it's a really simple, 80% for a 2000 calorie a day diet, which the Tanis diet is about that. On a diet, sometimes a lot of stuff gets cut back, so try and keep it 80% for these three, calcium, iron, and vitamin C every day of recommended daily values for a 2000 calorie a day diet. But the emphasis there is natural form, so not like a vitamin. It's actually food consumed. So it's effort. And then pairing that with exercise, right? Not everybody wants to drink a big glass of milk before they go on a run. All right, so then where do they put it? Where do I put it in the day, kind of thing? Okay. So lactose intolerance has been dramatically revamped. There's iron deficiency anemia, which is a blood condition. So like for that one, it's like I've, you know, anemia, iron deficiency anemia, because it's related to blood iron content for this particular condition. There's a little bit of, if you have anemia, this might actually be good for maintaining a certain, like in struggle with iron consumption. It might actually be good for forcing yourself to track it, or oneself. I don't know if you know. And this is one that actually runs in my family, so maybe I have it, maybe I don't know. So this is for that one. So like tracking it, it might actually be helpful in terms of like focusing in on it and being like, it might actually help. And if I were to have this, because it does run in the family, then I don't have any of the symptoms and I've been doing good. Like I find out, you know, in the future that I've had it my whole life, and I'm like, well, good thing. Maybe that's why I made the diet then. You know, it made me feel better. I had more energy. So there we go. So there's that one, and then the last one is scurvy, which, you know, like this is one that's like, it was like I was familiar with growing up because of like it being books about like ocean travel, water travel, because they wouldn't have any like fresh fruits or stuff on the boats. So then and vitamin C is like citrus fruits, like grapefruits, oranges, limes, that kind of stuff. It have a lot of vitamin C in them. And so this is one that I have had. It's a very mild form, and I even conducted my medical at the home medical books before filming this video. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, teeth falling out severity level. There are mild forms of scurvy, which is just vitamin C deficiency. And I actually found when I was living in Albany, California in the 2010s decade, I was like, what is going on? I'm craving like citrus things. And some of it, like my symptoms, if I were to classify that, is like, were like super mild scurvy. And I didn't go into the doctor because I was like, I can just go drink orange juice or buy, what I would typically do is like buy a bag of grapefruits and eat a grapefruit a day. As my preferred citrus is actually grapefruit, which I don't do currently. Yeah, so this is one that of like, they're like, it's one that like, I actually deliberately put vitamin C in this diet, in part because I'm like, it can produce some weird kind of feelings, but that correspond to physiological functioning if you don't get enough vitamin C. At least me, right, my body. So this is one that I have actually brushed with in mild form as well. So there's that. These are three, but so I guess I'm saying for all three, something that's true is it can be helpful to track it, because then the symptoms go away if I eat enough for each of these three. I don't have problems. Or like my lactose intolerance, I no longer have problems with stuff I had, perhaps because of the balance of the nutrients I'm getting. And so there we go. That's the Tanis Diet conditions pairings: lactose intolerance, calcium, anemia, iron, scurvy, vitamin C.